I'm here because I stand with President Donald Trump. And I'm here because President Donald Trump and I stand with Senator David Perdue and Senator Kelly Loeffler. So thanks for coming out today. You know, the President and I couldn't be more grateful for the support of the people across the state of Georgia over the past 4 years and over the past 2 weeks. You know, it's amazing to think already President Trump has received more than 73 million votes across this country. 10 million more votes than 2016, and the greatest share of minority votes of any Republican candidate for president in 60 years. And I can tell you, as our election contests continue, here in Georgia and in courts across the country, I'll make you a promise. We're going to keep fighting until every legal vote is counted. We're going to keep fighting until every illegal vote is thrown out. And whatever the outcome, we will never stop fighting to make America great again. That's why Georgia and America need David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler back in a Republican majority in the United States Senate. For all we've done together, for all we have yet to do, we need the great state of Georgia to defend the majority. And the road to a Senate Republican majority goes straight through the state of Georgia. Are you with me? You know, the president wanted me to be here today because we need Georgia to send these two great senators back to a Republican majority. First, because of who they are. And second, because of all we've accomplished. And because the Republican Senate majority could be the last line of defense for all that we've done to defend this nation, revive our economy, and preserve the God-given liberties that we hold dear. It's true. But I'm here because, first and foremost, of who they are. Like a son of Macon. After high school, he enrolled at Georgia Tech, paid his way through college by working warehouse and construction jobs, eventually worked his way to the top of the business world. He spent more than 40 years as a captain of industry, one of the most respected business leaders in America. But following his deep conservative convictions, he answered the call to service. And I can tell you firsthand that he's been one of the greatest and staunchest allies of our MAGA agenda in the United States Senate, Senator David Perdue. An amazing man. He's made Georgia proud. And also, like another incredible leader is with us here today. Fourth generation on her family's grain farm here in Georgia. Built her own company up from the ground. She broke barriers in business and sports and entertainment to become one of Georgia's most successful businesswomen. She has stood strong for conservative values and already emerged as one of the most important voices in the United States Senate. We need David Perdue and Senator Kelly Loeffler back in the United States Senate. Thank you, Kelly. So I know you're out here today for the same reason I am, because of these two extraordinary people. But we're also here because of all we accomplished together with their support and under the leadership of President Donald Trump. I mean, think about it. 4 years ago, we inherited a military that had been hollowed out by devastating budget cuts, an economy that was struggling to break out of the slowest recovery since the Great Depression. Terrorism was on the rise around the world, and we witnessed a steady assault on our most cherished values. But under the leadership of President Donald Trump, with these strong allies in the Senate, we rebuilt our military. We revived our economy. We secured our border, stood with law enforcement, and fought for life and liberty and the Constitution of the United States of America. You know, it's amazing. Some of you may not know that actually we're a little bit of a military family at the Pence household. I'm the proud father of a United States Marine. And one of my unworthy son-in-laws is a lieutenant in the United States Navy. And we're proud of them both. And I couldn't be more proud to be vice president to a president who has signed the largest increase in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. With the strong support of Senator David Perdue and Senator Kelly Loeffler, we're finally giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guard, and Space Force the resources and the support they need to defend this nation. And it's not just been about those who serve in the uniform. It's been about those of you who did serve. In fact, I expect in this great patriotic state there's many men and women among us who wore the uniform. If you served in our armed forces, would you mind just raising your hand and giving us a chance to say thank you one more time? Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Thank you for our freedom. I love you too. You know, under the last administration, I don't have to tell our veterans, we saw years of scandal at the VA that shocked the conscience of the nation. With President Trump, with strong allies like your two senators, he signed the most sweeping reforms of the VA in 50 years. We fired more than 10,000 employees at the VA that were not giving our veterans the care that they earned, and now Veterans Choice is available for every veteran in America. And every step of the way, we had the strong support of Senator David Perdue on the Senate Armed Services Committee and Senator Kelly Loeffler on the Veterans Affairs Committee. Thank you for standing with those who served. And with that renewed American strength, over the last 4 years, we've stood up to our enemies and stood with our allies as never before. Under the direction of this Commander-in-Chief, the armed forces of the United States took down the last inch of territory under the black flag of ISIS and captured and killed their leader without one American casualty. We stood up to Iran, got out of the Iran nuclear deal, and an Iranian general responsible for the death of hundreds of American servicemen, Qasem Soleimani, is gone. So we've stood up to our enemies. We've stood with our allies. And it was this president, with the strong support of your senators, who kept the word that 4 of his predecessors had made to the American people and our most cherished ally, when he moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, the capital of the state of Israel. And closer to home, over the last 4 years, after the slowest recovery since the Great Depression, strong allies like your two senators, President Donald Trump revived our economy. We cut taxes across the board for working families and businesses. We rolled back more regulation than any president in American history. We fought for free and fair trade. We unleashed American energy. In our first 3 years, we saw 7 million jobs created and unemployment at a 50-year low. And through this year, this challenging year through which we passed, with that strong foundation with the relief efforts that Senator Perdue and Senator Loeffler supported, we've already seen more than 13 million Americans go back to work. The great American comeback is underway. The truth of the matter is, we've had the strong support of these senators every step of the way. When it came to our security, when it came to our prosperity. But also that's true when it came to the rule of law. And with the support of your senators, President Donald Trump and I have stood strong with the men and women who serve in law enforcement at every level. With President Trump, David Perdue, and Kelly Loeffler, we will always back the blue. And maybe of greatest consequence of all, longest term impact on the life of the nation, is that with the unwavering support of Georgia's two senators, we've seen more than 220 conservatives appointed to our courts at every level. And they are all men and women who will uphold the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution, like the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, and the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. It's an amazing group of judges, principled men and women. And that includes Justice Neil Gorsuch, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, and Justice Amy Coney Barrett. And none of that would have been possible without the support of Senator Perdue and Senator Loeffler. In fact, let me just say, I want to specifically thank Senator Loeffler. She was the first senator in the United States to call for the confirmation vote of Justice Amy Coney Barrett. And they both stood strong with this amazing jurist. You know, these appointments to our courts have maybe never been more important, because the courts are our last line of defense, the last vanguard of our liberties enshrined in the Constitution and in our founding documents. When we came into office, you all remember that we'd seen a steady assault on our liberties and our cherished values. The conscience rights of doctors and nurses had been compromised through bureaucratic fiat in the last administration. A group of nuns known as the Little Sisters of the Poor were hauled into federal court by the last administration to force them to compromise their faith to live under the mandates of Obamacare. And you all remember when Judge Amy Coney Barrett went through her confirmation 2 years ago. And the leading Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee said she was concerned about Judge Barrett's Catholic faith. She said, and I quote, "The dogma lives loudly within you." And their allies in Hollywood have been attacking Judge Barrett's faith ever since. Well, I got news for the Democrats in Washington and two Democrats that want to join them. That dogma lives loudly in me. That dogma lives loudly in you. And the right to live and worship according to the dictates of our faith lives loudly in the Constitution of the United States of America. That's why for our liberties, for our future, for all the foundation of values that have made this country great, we need Senator David Perdue and Senator Kelly Loeffler back in the United States Senate. You know, and let me also say, we were just talking on the bus a minute ago. Beyond all of that, over the last 4 years, a growing economy, a strong defense, standing up for our liberties. I couldn't be more proud to be standing with two senators and serving alongside a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. So for our security, for our prosperity, for our liberties, and for life, we need Senator David Perdue and Senator Kelly Loeffler back in a Republican majority in the United States Senate. We need Georgia to defend the majority on January 5th, 2021. You know, the stakes in this election have never been higher. And here in Georgia, I got to tell you, the choice has never been clearer. Where David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler stand for a strong national defense, Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff will join Democrats in cutting our national defense to fund their big government programs. You know, Democrats a couple weeks ago were already talking about deep cuts in our national defense to fund their liberal agenda. And Raphael Warnock has actually demeaned our military and repeatedly defended the anti-Semitic rhetoric of Reverend Jeremiah Wright and criticized our most cherished ally, Israel. And where David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler cut taxes across the board, Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock want to raise taxes on working families and businesses large and small. Where David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler back the blue and will support conservative judges and the right to life, Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock support defunding the police, activist judges, and taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. Now, I heard that Senator Chuck Schumer said, first we take Georgia, then we change America. Well, I got a message for Chuck Schumer and all the Washington Democrats. We're going to keep Georgia, and we're going to save America. Are you with me? I know the people of Georgia get it. I mean, our agenda is American greatness. Their agenda is American decline. Where we're opening up, I promise you, they'll be locking down again. Remember when they said it was impossible to have a vaccine by the end of the year? I got to tell you, folks, buckle up. Before the end of this year, we're going to distribute about 40 million vaccines all across America. Thanks to the leadership of President Donald Trump, Senator David Perdue, and Senator Kelly Loeffler. We're making miracles happen. I mean, you all get it. We just got to make sure your neighbors get it every day between now and January 5th. I mean, their agenda is higher taxes, open borders, socialized medicine, a Green New Deal, abortion on demand, defunding the police, and packing the courts. Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are wrong for Georgia and wrong for America. So, Georgia, I got back on the bus today. Because we need you to stay in the fight. We need the people of Georgia to stay in the fight for integrity in this election. And we need the people of Georgia to stay in the fight to defend the majority. Stay in the fight until we send David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler back to a Republican majority in the United States Senate. So I got a couple things I want to ask you to do in the weeks ahead. The first thing I want to ask you to do, and I heard that ballots are already being sent out, absentee ballots. is vote, Georgia. Vote to re-elect David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler to the United States Senate. Early in-person voting starts Monday, December 14th. And I checked before I got off the bus. If you want to make a note of it, on the 14th, you can go up the road to the Cherokee County Board of Elections, 2782 Marriott Highway, Suite 100, right here in Canton. Come December 14th, they open at 8:30. Be in line and vote to re-elect David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler to a Republican majority in the United States Senate. I mean, we need you to do everything in your power. We need you to do everything in your power to make sure, to just be sure, that your two senators will be there to be a check on an agenda of the radical left. It's up to Georgia. As we continue our election contests in courts around the country, I promise you we're going to stay in that fight. You stay in this fight in Georgia. I mean, let's show the world. Let's show the world what Georgia's all about. That the agenda of Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi is not the agenda of the people of Georgia. So after you make plans to vote, I want you to go out and tell somebody. Talk to your neighbors and friends. I mean, we're going into a season here, an unknowable season. We don't know what the future holds, but in my house, we know who holds the future. But I want you to talk to your neighbors and friends. Tell them what's at stake in this election. Tell them why you're so passionately committed to making sure that every legal vote is counted. And tell them why we need these two senators back. I mean, the stakes in this election are just that high. You know, and I'll always believe that the most powerful media in this country is not your social media, it's not your major networks, it's not your big newspapers, it's not your AJC. It's word of mouth. It's when someone who knows you and hears from you about a candidate or a cause that you believe is important to them, important to their liberties, important to the nation. So tell your neighbors and friends that we got to count every legal vote and we got to re-elect David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler to the United States Senate. You go tell them. And in the uncertain days ahead, lastly, I'd encourage you just to have faith. Have faith that this president will never stop fighting. For all the values that have always made America great, have been making America great again. That built the biggest and broadest coalition of any Republican in the history of our country. Have faith in these two leaders and all those like them around the country that have stood undaunted for an agenda that's made our nation stronger, more prosperous, and more secure, and vouchsafed our liberties and our values. And have faith in your neighbors and friends. I truly do believe that if we hold the banner of freedom high, if we do like those words that are inscribed on the Liberty Bell from the good book, that if we proclaim liberty throughout all the land and unto all the inhabitants thereof, that the American people will rally to our cause. Because this is a freedom-loving nation. And this is a nation of faith. And finally, in these challenging times in the life of our nation, if you're inclined to bow the head and bend the knee from time to time, I'd encourage you to do that too. We pray for these courageous candidates who just finished a couple of tough campaigns and found themselves the morning after the election back in another one. Pray for our president, who gets up each and every day to defend the agenda that the American people elected us to advance in 2016 and to defend the vote today. And pray for America. Pray for all of the American people. And when you pray, pray with confidence. Again, in those ancient words from the ancient text, remember that if his people who are called by his name will just humble themselves and pray and turn, he'll do like he's always done in much more challenging times than we live in today. He'll hear from heaven and he'll heal this land. This one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So pray for America. Pray for all the American people. And if all of us do all we need to do between now and January 5th, I think we're going to keep on winning. We're going to keep America growing. And men and women of Georgia, if all of us do our part, we're going to preserve our heritage of freedom for this generation and the next. And with your continued support and prayers, with conservatives elected and re-elected, from state houses to the Capitol, all across the nation, with every legal vote for President Trump counted, and with Senators David Perdue and Senator Kelly Loeffler back in a Republican majority in the United States Senate, and with God's help, we will keep making Georgia and America more prosperous than ever before. We'll keep making Georgia and America safer than ever before. And we will keep making America great again. Thank you all very much, Georgia. God bless you. God bless America. Now let's go get it done.